In 2017, Usain Bolt walked away from the sport, leaving not only a huge gap on the global scene, but for his country. His departure placed quite a heavy strain on the incoming generation of Jamaica, because for 7 consecutive years, they saw nothing but gold in the men's sprints. However, a nation used to churning out great sprint talent, they had no doubt they would bounce right back. But to their surprise, it took even longer than expected, as it took 7 years for a single podium finish, and in 2025, just when the whole world was getting comfortable at the idea of a total United States domination, up stepped the small figure of Oblique Seville, changing the tides of history. This is his story, the man who reinstated a legacy, completing the rebirth of Jamaican male sprinting. Born March 16, 2001, in Jamaica's eastern parish of St. Thomas, his dad Gerald, a die-hard cricket devotee, saw the speed quite early and had optimistic views of young Seville. Oblique's high school career kicked off humbly at Holmwood Technical High School in rural Manchester. Noted for being a girls' powerhouse, winning 10 ISET Champs titles while known for producing top champ stars like Anisha McLaughlin, Samantha Hall, among others. Enrolling around 2015 as a wide-eyed teen, he made his first champs appearance in 2017. Ironically, the same year Bolt retired. Seville showed up with a personal best of 11.28 seconds, ranking him 27th out of the 53 boys slated for the 100 meters. He finished second in the first round, while lowering his personal best to 11.02 seconds, bringing him to the semi-final. This was quite an accomplishment already, as he was only one of 6 boys from rural schools to make it this stage, and to do so in his first attempt in such an intimidating environment. That said, the young man wanted more, and he pushed himself to finish second in the semi-final stage to make the 100-meter finals, where he finished 6th in a new personal best of 10.89 seconds. Such a performance did not go under the radar, as for the next season, he'd be donning the green and black of Calabar High School. Here he'd see a sharp increase in performances, lowering his personal best to 10.7 seconds, while running a wind-aided 10.57 at the Carifta Trials in 2018. His improved performances in the 2018 season foreshadowed great things in 2019, which did happen, but maybe not to the extent anyone was ready for. At the Woolmer Speed Fest, he would steal the show, topping both the 100 and 200 meter events in 10.46 and 21:30, 2 new personal bests. He would carry this momentum into the corporate area championships, where he took home a bronze medal, his first medal at a major high school meet. He would follow this up with his first ever 200 meter under 21 seconds, running 20.86 seconds to finish second at the Digicel Grand Prix final. Heading into champs, his 10.46 ranked him the 7th fastest athlete entering the 100 meters, meaning he was one of the favorites. However, the frontrunner for gold was Ryan Robertson, came into the championships unbeaten over 100 meters, and with the fastest time of 10.28 seconds, things quickly shifted throughout the rounds, with Seville clearly looking like the class act of the field, winning his first round in 10.32 seconds, going to the semifinals with by far the quickest time. Robertson won his heat in 10.5 seconds, and even though his unbeaten streak continued in the event, he knew Seville was definitely a threat. The semifinal would prove that to be even more the case, when Seville dropped another 10.3 run, showing he could do it consistently, and obviously the Jamaica college representative needed to be near his absolute best to get the better of his new rival in the final. The two finally met in the 100-meter final, where both men were looking to make their name, one dominating the event all season, and the other kicked into another gear at the championships. When the gun went, both boys got away quickly, with Robertson taking the lead early on. But as the race went on, Seville got up to a dangerous level of speed and flew past the JC man, flying through the line to take the win in a jaw-dropping time of 10.13 seconds. His run put him 0.01 seconds outside of the champ's record and 0.02 seconds outside of the national junior record. This run took Seville's popularity to a next level, as no longer was he an underground breakthrough prospect. He won the big one. He was now an international junior sensation.
100 meters is the premier event at any track meet. Last night in Austin, a capacity crowd on hand to watch straight Jesuit senior Matthew Bowling in the state meet. His 9.98 wind-aided run a couple of weeks ago had everyone wondering what Bowling would do.
His 2019 season did not end with the highs of his new junior stardom, because having represented his high school, it was time to make another step, and that was representing his country for the first time ever. This after a national junior championship win a few months later. This set him up with a highly anticipated clash with the biggest junior sprinter in the world at the time, Matthew Bowling. Matthew that year got the entire world in a frenzy with his wind-aided sub-10 100-meter sprint, and Texas had him dubbed the White Lightning and got him highlighted by major media companies such as CBS, CNN, Fox News, among others. The two met in the Pan Am Junior Finals in a clash that saw the best two junior athletes go head-to-head at Seville's first international championship. Unfortunately for the Jamaicans, he was unable to get the victory as Bowling managed to use his strong finishing speed to take the win in 10-11 seconds. This championship ended his junior career, and in 2020, he was fully under the Racers Track Club banner with coach Glen Mills. The Racers Track Club is the most successful male sprinting track club in the country, having produced the likes of Johan Blake, Warren Weir, Kemar Bailey Cole, and even the fastest man ever, Usain Bolt. With a proven track record of success and working with the man he looked up to, Seville seemed to be in the best place. The year 2020 would see a halt in competition due to the spread of the virus. That meant an additional time could be taken to make a charge for his first Olympic Games in 2021. While sub-10 wasn't expected yet, the state of Jamaican male sprinting had hit a new low it hadn't seen since the early 2000s. In the space of 3 seasons, after Bolt retired, only 3 men ran under 10 seconds, compared to the 2017 season, 4 men ran under 10 seconds that year alone. So clearly there was a pressing issue, one the country was hoping would be eventually solved by the new generation. 2021, Seville was back on the track, looking to pick up where he left off in 2019, breaking personal bests after personal bests, and that's what actually happened as he lowered his personal bests to 10.1 seconds in the final meet prior to the Olympic trials. This showed he was on the right path, and unlike other high school sensations, it was not going to be a case of waiting 4 or 5 years before progression took place. Seville was ready to take on the best in the country right away.
At the Jamaican Olympic trials, he looked sensational, making it into the semi-final with the second fastest time, only to Johan Blake, at the time the fastest Jamaican for the year. When the dust cleared and the finals were done, Seville would find himself holding on to 3rd place, booking his spot for his first ever senior championships at just 20 years old.
Tracy at this point in the lead, Blake trying to get back and finding it difficult, losing his form. Fort staying relaxed. Here comes Oblique Seville on the outside for 3rd.
Tokyo 21 was a never-seen-before event. The greatest athletes gathered for the 32nd Olympiad, but for the first time in history, it would be done without the presence of fans in the stadiums. To some it made the competition easier, but to some the pressure ramped up even more. In the midst of all that, Seville was there looking to see where he fit in on the global scene. His first ever Olympic race saw him line up against the eventual Olympic champion Marcel Jacobs, but in that moment it was 9 men looking to make their name on the global scene. The Jamaican crashed out at the semi-final stage, so did his teammate Johan Blake. This meant that for the first Olympic final since 2000, there was no Jamaican in the 100-meter final on the men's side. The experience of the 2021 season drove him into the 2022 season, a year where he eventually had his true breakout at the senior level. It all started on May 21 at the Jubilee Series, where the young man stormed to a jaw-dropping 9.86 seconds.
Sent off and running, great start for Seville. Also the man Jones gets up well, but Oblique Seville now takes charge and he moves away from the rest of the field. Get mixed with the moment. Oblique Seville, look at the time! 9.83!
He not only ran under 10 seconds for the first time, but he did so while moving to number 1 in the world and pushed himself into the all-time fastest Jamaicans ever. With such a run, his status on the global scene completely changed, and expectations for what he could do was now even higher. The 2022 National Championships was the first championships he went in as favorite, and it wasn't even close at that point, because no other Jamaican had gone close to 9.86 at that point. To everyone's surprise, Seville was beaten in the final by Johan Blake, with the 30-plus-year-old running 9.85 seconds, his fastest time in 8 years.
Good as well.
Set.
The set position. Off they go. Great start by Blake and Seville. Oblique Seville steps forward. Johan Blake. Akeem Blake is coming forward as well. Seville and Johan Blake, the elder statesman. 9.86. The flash time. Oblique Seville was right in there as well. What a great finish that was. Seville and Johan Blake. And it is the oldest man in the lineup.
The 21-year-old Jamaican hoped to do better on the global stage, which he actually did, as after 2 rounds, he found himself in his first ever final at a major championships. Unfortunately, this was his only accomplishment, as he was blocked from a medal with an American sweep.
And greatness, 10 seconds to justify a lifetime of work. The men's 100-meter world championship final. They're away first time. There's a massive roar from the crowd. Coleman's going well out in lane 7. Still no move yet from Curley. Bracey going well. Curley's under pressure. Oh, and it's so tight. Did Curley get it on the line, or has Marvin Bracey beaten him to the title?
Finishing 4th at the 2022 World Championships showed there was massive progression, not only in time, but in terms of what he could deliver on the global stage. He'd moved from being a semi-finalist to finishing 4th. That was promising, especially with the track record of Glen Mills. A year later, a new wave of Jamaican sprinters would emerge. At the Jamaican Champs, Kashane Thompson announced himself to the world, showing up out of nowhere to drop a 9.91 seconds in the first round, then disappeared. You'd think a single shock was enough. No, it was not, as Rohan Watson put on the race of his life to win the national title, while Seville had to settle for a 3rd-place finish, settling behind the winner Watson and his old rival Ryan Ford. With his spot secured for the World Championships in Budapest, the goal was to improve from a 4th-place finish the previous year to the podium. His semi-final run made it look very much possible, easily defeating the reigning world champion Fred Curley. Despite that, Seville still came up short, finishing 4th once again, losing out on a medal to a man he defeated in the semi-final. In the space of 3 seasons, Seville had 0 national titles and 0 medals despite going into meets favored to do so, and as custom in the world of sports, the choking moniker lingered. Paris 2024 would end up driving that narrative louder than ever, as at his 2nd Olympic Games, he would finish back of the pack in the final. Yes, he was injured, but the fact he defeated Noah in the semi-final, who eventually won, and Kashane managed to medal in his first major championships, while he couldn't in 4 attempts, made it seem he was just about to go down a path of one of the best who never made the podium. Those talks ramping up made the 2025 season such a pivotal one, because the longer these talks continued, the greater the pressure on the Jamaican. So when he lined up in Tokyo, the same city he got his first major championships 4 years prior, the stakes were way higher. The roller coaster would continue in the first round, as in the very first round he was beaten into 3rd after an obvious mistake in the blocks. It became obvious Seville had to win against himself before he could do anything of note at this championships. Even fellow rival Noah Lyles, whose only 2 wins of the 6 meetings against the Jamaican came at major championships, had to mention the state of mind of the Jamaican. After his first round glitch, Seville bounced back impressively in the semi-final, stamping his class with a 9.86 seconds win. Now came that hard part, delivering in the final. Surrounded by some of the men who has had his number, it was a tall order. He had never defeated Kashan, failed to defeat Lyles at championships. Kenny defeated him in all their meetings in the year. When the gun went, Thompson got out really quickly, looking to dominate once again. However, with about 40 meters to go, Seville found another gear and stepped past his Jamaican teammate, flying through the line to take the win, in a blistering 9.77. Finally, he got that global medal, and it was the most valuable of them all: gold.
Close, Seville from Thompson. Lyles at last is beaten. Seville was desperately disappointed.
Battle on the track, but the one off it too, as the outlook on his legacy switched completely. What was seen as choking was now seen for what it was: maturation at the highest level. The gold medal, along with Thompson's silver, officially reinstated Jamaican male sprinting, and who better to lead the charge than the young man who kicked off the new generation back in 2021. This story was one that highlighted the importance of patience and a strong mindset, both things Oblique developed through his unclear early junior days up to working with arguably the best male sprint coach ever. And at just 24 years old, this is just the beginning of a great legacy.
Back on top of the world.
And Usain Bolt defied logic with his height and being able to use those long limbs and everything. You have to be so strong to do that. On the other end of the spectrum, Oblique Seville has been written off for being too short, for being too compact, and he's proved everyone wrong here today.
Oh, it's like the old days, isn't it? With Bolt